Hello again, everybody. This is Craig Evans of Autism Hangout, and thank you for tuning into this Autism Hangout special report. Now, we're all looking for ways to improve the lives of our special kids. And when someone comes along with either a new software app or a new therapeutic technique, we all benefit. Well, today's guest is an occupational therapist and an author that's on the forefront in the development of activities that promote attention, coordination, and enhance our special kids' daily living skills. I just think that's excellent. Autism Hangout, please welcome today's guest, author Barbara Smith. Welcome, Barbara. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, you and I haven't really talked that much, and I haven't had a chance to see your book. But you've got this wonderful concept that you're calling adaptations, and I realize that's not a new term. But let's talk about adaptations of daily things that happen and how this can enhance our kids' living skills.
Well, I'm going to talk about adaptations to fine motor activities because that is something that I'm very interested in. And adaptations can help to motivate children to engage in fine motor skills. And this is especially important when working with children who have learning or motor challenges. So I want to show you a couple of adaptations so you'll know what I'm talking about.
Excellent.
This is an adapted lacing board that I cut out of a piece of plastic. It has 5 very large holes, and I use thick cord rather than flimsy string, so it's very easy to use. And the kids with learning challenges need that easy success.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this is similar, a stringing activity, rather than start out, hope you can see it, rather than start out teaching a very young child how to string beads. Children who have coordination challenges can often find it easier to string these donut shapes onto the cord rather than beginning with beads.
Mm-hmm.
That makes it easier for them. I also like to add a sensory component to toys and activities because a lot of kids, especially the kids with autism, are responsive to sensory stimulation such as music or bright lights. And a lot of them like the feeling of using some toys that vibrate. So I take the motor from a motorized pen, and sometimes I use the motor from an electric toothbrush. I put it inside a shape sorter so the entire shape sorter shakes. I won't do it right now because it makes noise, but the shape sorter shakes. So when they put a shape inside, they're motivated by that sensation of it shaking. And one last sensory adaptation that I love, you can take a shape sorter that you buy, have it shake as well with that vibrating device, but you can attach the shapes with Velcro so the child can feel and hear that sensory input's a lot of fun before they insert the shapes inside the shapes.
This stuff is so creative. It's so much fun. All the sounds, all the textures. Okay, so what's the difference between a sensory reinforcement versus a sensory diet?
Well, a reinforcement makes a person want to repeat an action, like my paycheck reinforces me to go back to work. A sensory reinforcer will provide some type of sensory stimulation. So if a child is sitting on a swing and is ignoring me, I can stop the movement of the swing, ask the child to say go or sign more or do a fine motor activity, and then the swing will move, and that movement is a reward for that targeted behavior. A sensory diet is something that we implement all day long to help a child reach that optimal neurological state where they're not overexcited and they're not lethargic, but their brain is working just right so that they can be engaged in activities.
Mm-hmm.
And now a sensory diet might include strategies such as sitting on a bouncy ball that gives them some movement while they're sitting, wearing a weighted vest, chewing gum, exercises like stopping their work to do 10 jumping jacks, squeeze toys. All of these sensory diet items can be implemented all day long to help a child be more focused and engaged.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know one of the therapies that you're particularly strong in, one that you like to promote, is hippotherapy. Could you define that a bit and talk about some of its benefits?
Well, in a nutshell, hippotherapy is performed by a therapist, an OTPT or speech and language therapist, using the horse as a treatment tool to work on our therapeutic goals. Just like I might use a therapy ball to work on postural control and coordination, I use that horse, and the emotional bond between the horse and child is very effective. But while the child's riding, all that sensory input from the touch of the horse, the smell, the sounds, the bouncing, the stimulation to the inner ear, all of that sensory stimulation helps the child reach that neurological state that I was just talking about. And I also use the horse as a sensory reinforcer. So when I want a child to pay attention and follow directions like pat the horse or clap your hands, if that child's ignoring me and just chilling out and not paying attention, I can stop the movement, help the child to pat the pony, and then as a reinforcer have the horse continue to move.
Barbara, how many years have you been an occupational therapist?
Oh, about 25 years, many years.
Yeah, and I know that you've been putting a lot of these ideas down in books. Can we talk for a minute? How many books have you written so far?
Well, I've written 3 books, but 2 are about pediatrics, and I do have a digital book coming out in the fall. I'm in the process of copywriting it. So my first book is called The Recycling Occupational Therapist, because I've worked with adults with developmental disabilities and also children later on, and I describe the activities that adaptations, just as I described today, that occupational therapists and others can create out of recycled materials, and I describe the strategies and how to use them. My newest book, From Rattles to Riding, A Parent's Guide to Hand Skills, is written for parents of typically developing as well as children with challenges, so that parents can learn about typical development and the many strategies and adaptations that will help them develop the skills that prepare them for reading and writing. And you have seen some of the strategies and adaptations today that I described in my book.
I know a lot of these creative thoughts, you put them in your book, and that benefits all of us. Barbara, where can people go to get more information about you and your book?
Well, I have a lot of information about the book on my website, recyclingot.com, and the special page just about the book, from rattles to writing.com. It is sold through the company, TheraPro, and it can be ordered on their website, therapro.com, as well as on Amazon.
Okay, that's outstanding. Barbara, thank you so much for what you do for our special kids. We all benefit from little techniques and tips like this, and thank you for being out there and putting these at a place that we can all reference them.
You're very welcome.
And thank you, Autism Hangout. I'll be back again soon with another special report.